Hello, lovely people. Today I want to discuss my findings about Christian music. Christian music being like very emotional tied. By the way, I always grew up Christian, and of course, like you go to church, what worship is and what worship really is for me. Definitely at the time, growing up singing it at church. Worship is where you come in contact with God, where you pour your heart out, where you get to actually have no to-do list in the back of your mind, have and for me, everyone's different, but it's true. Like when you are in a worship music, like these experiences of people, me myself as well, you really get in a higher state. You feel very emotional, you feel like you're about to cry, you feel like you're actually not on edge. You're on the opposite side of being on edge. You're so chill. And that's why I love worship music. That's why people love worship music. But gladly, and God bless, I have critical thinking skills. Genetology. Okay, so yeah, Christian music and the new foundings that actually confirm my the things that I was slightly deconstructing. And again, deconstruction is a process where you slowly, usually subconsciously, you just feel something off about the topic, but you don't, dismantle the whole thing. You're just like, okay, am I the only one? But again, with talking, doing research, essays, your intuition is always right. Your intuition is always right, by the way. What I came to find out is that Christian music, Christian producers, is also a big pyramid grift almost. I don't know if you would call it grift, but a lot of these popular, very popular Christian songs like "Reckless Love," dang, it hasn't been a minute. I still have my worship playlist because I actually still delight in worship music. It's just not music that I now put on just because. It's usually because, and here's my point, when I'm very emotional and want to feel supported, like what some people have with like love songs or like comfort shows. That's how I view worship music right now. So here's my worship playlist. I do have quite a lot. Waymaker. Ah, here we go. Holy Forever, 10,000 Reasons. Here am I to worship, and all these elevation worship. Definitely Maverick City, Bethel music, and as you can hear, it all falls in the category of non-denominational Pentecostal evangelical music. There was a phrase that rewired my brain, by the way, and this phrase is this. I wrote it down. It's not tradition or spiritual reflection really that shapes popular Bible theology. And you know what it is? Music, Christian music can be quite theological. It is theological. You really sing out lyrics that are based actually on the album, the people who write these songs. And what I came to learn is that a lot of these songs that are popular at the top and that are streamed by the millions all have like mega churches playing them, all have like some very big media company behind it. It's like, to me, it's like, yeah, it's exactly as in the secular world, that's just a byproduct of also as well capitalism. It does also affect the church. The church pyramid power scheme is highly tied to the same system that benefits a few people at the top, and the people at the bottom, they don't see the lines, the strains, the actually manipulation as well. And you would think like something like worship music, okay, who cares, it's just music, you play it and leave it like that. But if you are like a devout Christian, if you take the faith very seriously, which, yeah, some people really do, me as well, like I want to take it very seriously, you think and you feel something is quite off with these Christian um, popular worship songs. First, I thought like it was cool, it's not bad that these media, big Christian influencers or Christian singers have a lot of budget. It looks cool. Like, of course, like these worship I'm not hating these music videos as well. They look polished. You see people usually in a concert setup, and the light is flashing, the smoke screens, the singers are sweating their soul out. It really gets you in the trance. But wait, do you also know what also gets you in that state? An Ariana Grande concert. Worship music is actually shaped and written to be very emotional, that you would not really, yeah, that you would not distinguish it with separate it with like just secular music. I feel this lack of authenticity, and it has to do everything. Now I have my answer, because the most popular Christian songs are written or like produced by like a big Christian media company that has a lot of profits, and the church pays these companies to license their music. And you could also discuss, I've seen this reaction discussion as well, of like the moral aspect of this, because then you could ask yourself like, why is church benefiting and copyrighting music about God if they believe that worship should be for everyone, and that you should be free to worship and just use it in your videos or whatever place circumstances? Then why is it copyrighted? That's could also be a question, but that's not really why I want to dive deep in. I really wanted to dive deep in the emotional aspect. Because tell me why. It began with the song Reckless Love, by the way. Reckless Love, y'all definitely know Reckless Love if you have been a Christian for at least 1 month. Reckless Love is where it began for me as well, because I got recently baptized. I wanted to switch from my playlist from secular to more Christian music, which is usually country like, the type of vibe, and just what is popular at the moment. If I'm honest, you're almost quite forced to like the most Christian popular music, because the independent Christian artists, I feel like, are kind of invisible. I sometimes stumble very randomly up to this day on some independent Christian artists on YouTube, and I think like, wow, your music, your voice is so beautiful. But I also see that these problems are also occurring in the Christian spaces. That if you're independent, if you don't want to, work with these very money commercialized Christian media companies, then your music may not be could not could be better, as in like sales and stuff. But some people don't care about sales as well. But just singers do have the aspiration to have their song contributed to more people. I always lose track. Oh yeah, yeah. So I want to talk about the song "Reckless Love" and my experience. First of all, it was the title. The title is only. That's that's not the title. That's the whole song, by the way. Only overwhelming, never. Oh my days, that was not in the great notes. But anyways, "Reckless Love." The title is controversial. Why is it like reckless love? If you believe that His love is unconditional, the word reckless does not fit really. And okay, and then as well, what the same recipe is with these Christian songs is like actually minimum text and just a lot of the pianos and the background notes. You go to the spiritual trance, but they repeat the same word all over again. So I heard this argument that you could like get in some sort of kundalini awakening only based off worship songs, and I would actually almost agree with that, because there's also a song which I really really used to love, by the way. The song was Yeshua. Ah, ah. That song is basically, look it up on YouTube. That song, the video and the song itself is at least 4 or 5 minutes. And I think there's a version online that is 10 minutes. And I kid you not, 80% of the song is just that. Okay? It gets you really in a trance. And it's actually, if I'm honest, a very nice feeling. But I do find this argument is not really there. That especially if you're deconstructing, you just realize that a lot of the times you are singing worship songs to get close to God, and but it's very emotional based, which actually for me takes out of the maybe the rational side of things. But that's just me as a person, but worship leaders themselves are coming up front, by the way, that they are very aware that they write songs, and that they, when it comes to church sermons, they know very well what they're doing. It's not really about bringing people to God. Of course, some people, they do care about people's souls, but most people in that worship industry focus on emotion, on selling, on making sure people get into this trance state. And once I discovered this reality, that's what my inner intuition always like felt like. Yo, worship song always made me cry, and it does not help, by the way, that then the leader of the church would then at that moment always say like, okay, if you feel down this week, if you this and that. Oh, and you hear the music, the vibrations of the worship song that is so intentional to make you emotional and to get you into this state of, oh yeah, I need to repent. And if you just, oh my days, my eyes really have been opened. It really makes perfect sense why it's easy to let people be also manipulated to do things they would usually not do. Do you notice that the altar call is usually at a time, it's always at a time where worship music is played at the background? I mean, let me really think. I went to church multiple times all my life. I think when it's time for the altar call, there's always a worship song playing. I think now the psychology part of it, wow, it really makes people more likely to submit to whatever you say when you put on some trance music like that. But let me know your opinions, your thoughts, and yeah, bye bye.